Hola familia, how's it going? My name is Antonio Mendieta, CEO and Director of Comida for Familias Incorporated, and in this video I'm going to show you how to code with HTML. HTML is what gives websites their structure, and this is the first part of a multi-part series where I will be teaching you web development. So the first thing we're going to look up is actually what is HTML. And if we go ahead and search on the browser and scroll down a bit, we can see that it says HTML is short for Hypertext Markup Language. Simply put, HTML is pretty much the structure of the website. And in order to give you a good example of how this looks like, I'm going to go ahead and go onto the Comida for Familias website, inspect it, and show you on the left hand side the HTML code. Yeah, so as you can see right here, here's where everything is structured, and everything that is visible here can actually be seen in the body. So to give you a more clear example, me clicking on the text, it shows up on the left hand side, and you can see that this is split up into different sections. Now we can see how each one of these sections are structured when we expand here. And as you can see, the basic tags that we use here are headers and paragraphs. In order to see what each one of these means, you can go to MDN Web Docs. And even here, it gives a clear definition of what HTML is. And below the description, it even has some examples of a few elements that you can try out. The next thing we're going to be looking into is how to actually edit the HTML code. So in order to do that, we're going to check out an IDE, which IDE stands for Integrated Development Environment. The one I am going to suggest is Visual Studio Code. There are others out there such as Atom or even browser IDEs like Code Sandbox or CodePen. My preferred is Visual Studio Code, so this is what we are going to download. Once this pops up, you can go ahead and read the terms and conditions and then click Accept. For me, I'm going to want to create a shortcut, so I'll go ahead and click here. And once again, this is just to create a shortcut for your desktop. Now, I would recommend that you keep everything else selected, hit Next, then wait for it to download. Now, as you already saw, I already have Google Chrome installed, but if you don't have Google Chrome installed, go ahead, open up your Internet Explorer or Firefox, whatever other browsers you have, and then search Google Chrome, and then click download, and then to make it your default browser, so that way you don't have to continue switching it back and forth, go to your default apps, search Google Chrome Explorer once it finishes installing, and then click on where it says Set Default. Now, if you don't want it to be the default for each one of your files, you can always go down one by one and set which files you want to open with Google Chrome. Now, when you first open Visual Studio Code, it should provide you with a new blank file. But since I've already had it installed and worked on a couple projects, there is another way to open it using your terminal, and I am going to show you that way just so that way you guys can get a little used to using the terminal to open new files. So in order to get to the terminal, you can go to the search bar and enter terminal. You can also enter command line, and then it'll take you here. Now, if you're unfamiliar with this, just know that it's pretty much the same thing if you were to open any one of your other folders. It's just going to be, inside the C drive, users, and then in the file name. And what I did just now with dir, I did it to see everything that was inside that folder. Now I know there is a folder called desktop, so I did cd desktop in order to enter the desktop, dir in order to see the files and folders within it. I'm going inside the dev folder, and then I'm doing dir to see all the files inside it. Lastly, in order to create a new Visual Studio file, just type in code with a dot. So that is code space dot. And as you can see here, it automatically opens up Visual Studio Code. For right now, let's just go ahead and start by opening the file. And as you can see up here, it shows you different types of files that we could create. This next part is some plugins that I would suggest you install. It's going to make your coding experience so much easier if you install these plugins. The first one is Prettier. It is a code formatter. So whenever you save the document, it will automatically format the page to make it easier to read. This next one is the auto close tag, and this is just so whenever you create a tag, it automatically closes it. This next one is called StyleLint Plus. So StyleLint Plus is to auto-fix and reformat for CSS and SCSS, and also LESS style sheets. This next one is Color Highlight, and all this does is really put an outline for whenever it is that you're using hex codes for your colors. And this one's actually pretty handy because instead of just copy and pasting it onto your browser all the time in order to check what color it is that you're using, Color Highlight does that for you by highlighting and outlining the color code. And then this last one is EJS language support. This one's pretty much for any support for JavaScript language. Now there are two other ones that I'm going to consider as bonuses. Once again, this is just suggested. It is not required or recommended. This next one is Live Server. Basically what it does is that whenever you make a change in your code, it automatically renders that change onto your website that you are working on. And there is a good example of that right here. Then here we have toggle column selection. And well, instead of me explaining this one, there's also a really good example of what it does right here. Now this last one is also optional, definitely not required. I actually was planning on not installing this one myself because, well, as you can see, when we in one of my other projects, the icons for what the file type is already set by default. But if you wanted to change them to be more, I don't know, colorful, then this would be a good extension for you. As you can see here, this is the default. So this one is a JSON package .md as well as other various file types. And if we are to enable it, then it will change the colors of the icons and the icons themselves. Now going back to this new file that we created. Now the first thing we're going to start off with is !doc type HTML. And this identifies the document type. Specifically, doc type HTML identifies that this document is HTML5, and if we were to search HTML5, we'll see that this is the latest version of HTML. Next, we are going to type HTML, and this tells the browser that everything is going to be HTML code. Then within the HTML tag, we are going to create the head. And the head holds information about the web page. Now within the head, we can create some metadata, and the metadata gives details about the web page, such as the keywords for SEO, the author name, and even the title and description. And as we can see here, we can read some details about what tags we can use for the metadata. So here is a good example of how to use name. So the first thing we're going to create is meta character set. And the reason why we're going to be using UTF-8 is because it is the standard encoding for all websites, because it actually uses all international symbols as well as emojis. Okay, so for the metadata, as I've already explained here, this is for the encoding. Next, we are going to create the description for the website, and this is essentially going to come up with any search engines. So for example, MDN, the description is going to show up right here. It's pretty much these captions for each one of the pages. So with that being said, let's go ahead and type in meta, then name, description, content, text, actually we can go ahead and give it more description. And then here we're going to enter the keywords. This is going to be good for SEO. Name, keywords, content. We'll just go ahead and say sample, personal, portfolio. If this is going to be for your portfolio website, portfolio. Okay, so next thing is to put the author. Name, author, content. And this is to put, well, whoever is the author of the website. So you can either put your own name or you can put your company name. I'm going to go ahead and put now the next thing is not metadata, but you are going to need the title of your website. And in order to find out how to do the title, we can go here, HTML elements. To make this little key thing come up is Control F, so title. And then this is how you would write it. So Grandma's Heavy Metal Festival Journey. Okay, so we can just go ahead and put here my, actually hold on. And then there you go. That's going to be all of the basic information that you're going to put on the head of your website. Later on, I will show you how to do style sheets, analytics, and any JavaScript code. But for right now, this is the main, for right now, these are the basics. Let's go ahead and see how it looks like, see what we've done so far. So in order to see what we've done so far, go to your file, and then as you can see, Chrome's already the default thing to open with, but if we want to open it with anything else, right click on it and say open with, and then Google, Microsoft, whatever it is. Double click on it. And right now we haven't put any content into it, but as you can see right here, my sample website, right? So exactly what we put in. And then if we inspect it, we can see all the content that we put into the head, right? Description, content, or description, keywords, author, and even the title. So the next step is to put in content into the page. And in order to do this, we're gonna have to create a body. Now, as I said before, the body is where you create content for the website. And the main tags that I'm gonna show you to use are gonna be header, paragraph, as well as some other helpful and useful ones. Start with header. So this is H1. And in between H1, you can type in this is header 1. Then go back here, we're going to refresh the page. As you can see, it says this is header 1. Now we can go ahead and continue doing this up to 6 times. So let's see, H2. Oops. I'm not going to do all 6 times, but just to show you guys an example. Refresh the page. As you can see, it keeps going smaller and smaller. Here, let's go ahead to HTML elements, H. And as I said before, it goes down all the way to 6. This person also decided to use down to header 4. But yeah, see 1, 2, 3, 6. Now something else I should let you guys know is that for each one of these tags, if you see anything within it, such as class or ID, these are attributes. And to find out what attributes a tag has, you can always go here, at least the headers. You can find the attributes right here on the side. And you can see that, but as I'm showing you right now, class, ID, and even style. And this I would not suggest that you do, but yeah, style would be to change the style of the header. And this is called inline styling, but you definitely want to use CSS, a separate CSS file in order to do your styling. So, I mean, just to give you an example, let's go ahead and do background color. And let's go ahead and put a color of, let's say, 0E0, which is green, as you can see. Let's go back here, refresh, and as you can see, it does a background of green. Next thing I'm going to show you is paragraphs. And this is pretty much for like any basic text. This is good practice for you, use any basic text. So this is a paragraph. Refresh. Yeah, as I said, any basic text. Now let's say we want to italicize something, and there's 2 options to do this. So there is I for italicize. And then there's also EM, and this is for emphasize. It will pretty much give you the same result. But there is a difference, right? So if we actually Google the difference, what is the difference between I and EM in HTML. It says the main difference between these two tags is that EM semantically emphasizes on the important word or section of words, while I tag is just an offset text conventionally styled in italicized to show alternative mood or voice. Which a better way to say this is that it describes the behavior nature of the content for the text enclosed inside the tag, and they represent the function of the text in the page. Physical tags are just used to change the appearance of the text and do not provide any information about the text. Now, in another paragraph, it's pretty much the same concept. B, this is going to just change the appearance. And strong, it's going to change the emphasis. Pretty much the same thing as up here. Right? So we refresh now. There we go. Now, of course, you can also put strong and bold into the same category. The order kind of doesn't matter because as you can see, strong is inside the emphasis. Here we can put the emphasis inside the bold. Now, in order to create lists, you can do the following. This is for ordered lists. So this is how you do ordered lists, right? And these are going to be the lists that have numbers. So OL stands for ordered list, list item, and then item 1 in unordered list. And then I'm just going to go ahead and copy paste this over and over, just so that way you guys can see that each one of them has a number. Now, if you wanted to do it unordered, right, without the 1, 2, 3, you would do UL, then do the same thing here. And as you can see, and it will give you bullet points instead of numbers. So pretty simple, right? Now let's say you wanted to give a list of different links that go to different pages. In order to do that, in order to create a link, all you have to do is use the anchor tag or just the A tag. And in the A tag, you're going to create the attribute href. And in that href, you're going to create you're going to either put a link or you're going to put a reference to a page. So let's say, for example, you want it to go to your to a website that you found out that was really cool. So you would put href there. You would click this link. You would save your document. And as you can see, the prettier is actually working automatically whenever you save a document, because as you can see, this auto structured. And this is actually the structure that you want to go with, right? So that way it makes everything easy to read and organized. And you can see what's inside each other. But going back to the anchor tag, okay, click this link, go back to the page, refresh, and there you go. So when people click your link, it'll take them to the website you want to take them to. Another thing you can do is, hold on, let's open up the folder that this is in. I should actually create its own folder. Purpose, new folder, sample site. Actually, good practice is to put everything in one word. And let's go ahead and select that folder. So that way it'll open it. And in that folder, let's go ahead and put boilerplate vanilla site. Oops, actually wrong place. Oh, cancel. Here it is. Okay. So then the other sites, let's go ahead and create a new file called page1.html. Let's go ahead and copy this just so we can have the structure. And in the body of this page, we're just going to put page1. Page1. Then for the href, we're going to do page1 HTML. And I know originally this is what we called it, but it's actually better practice to actually call your first page of your website index. Rename it to index. Let's change the name here. Index HTML. Oops. So you're going to reopen it. Now we click the link, and as you can see, it takes you to page 1. Okay. So as mentioned before, you can either take it to a page that you created yourself within the same folder, or you can go to a website, right? https media4familias.com. And if this is going to be a page, it's always good practice to actually put a link back to go back to the page that you were on. So index.html. Home. Let's go back home. There you go. Now we have site navigation. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to put an image. Oh, and by the way, just to let you know, you can always, just like strong and emphasize, we can always put a into any one of these elements. So for example, right here, we can put in this list where it says ordered. A. There we go. Refresh. Save refresh. Can anyone see what I'm doing wrong? If you said it's because I'm missing a href, you would be right. There we go. Once you put the href, refresh the page, and as you can see, it's a different color, and it works now. So yeah, just like the strong and emphasis, you can do the same thing with the anchor. Put it wherever you need. Now, if you want to add a picture, right, you use the image tag. And let's go ahead and look it up. Like I said, go ahead and practice. Let's go back to HTML. HTML elements. And we are going to type in this src or image. Here we go. images in HTML. As you can see, it uses img, and this is pretty much all we have to do. And it's similar to Anchor in the sense that you can either put the link to the image that you want to reference, or you can also put in the files. So I'm going to show you both ways. Let's go here. Let's open up a new tab. Go onto Google. For Amelia's logo. Images. Let's go ahead and take the original logo. Open image in new tab. Copy. Let's go back to our image. Now, in order to create the source, src, put in the link, and if we go back to EMD, it should show you alt, yes, and this is what actually shows whenever the image is broken. It's also really good for accessibility because this reads to the user what the picture is of. You can think of it like captions, pretty much. Captions for the users. As you can see, it shows an example right here, right? The dinosaur image is not working, so it shows the alt text. So yeah, let's go back here. Alt text. Comida for Familias logo. Save. Let's go here. And there you go. There's the picture of Comida for Familias. Go onto the website, find an image that you want to put, and do the same thing. And I'm also going to show you how to do it via your own files. So I'm going to show it with this picture. Let's save the image into the files. Where is it? There. I'm going to call this Cinco de Mayo. Okay, now it should show up here. And it's good practice to actually have an image folder. That way you can put all your images in that folder. Let's go ahead and bring up that image. src. You want to go into image folder. Then Cinco de Mayo, alt text, Cinco de Mayo image. Party. Close it. Save it. And now if we look at our sample website, it should work. Refresh it. There we go, Cinco de Mayo website. Now you can also make the images clickable by having an A tag inside the image. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. I'm pretty sure there was a, here we go. If you put an image inside an A tag to turn an image into a link, you still must provide accessibility link text. In such cases, you may either write it inside the same A element or inside the image's alt attribute, whichever works best in your case. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. So the A tag would actually be containing the image. So let's go ahead and take this A, put it over here, save. As you can see, it auto-adjusted again. And we're going to give it a high ref, or a reference in href. Then once again, we're going to take it to the Comida for Familias website. We'll go back to the sample, refresh the page. And as you can see, the mouse icon changes from a pointer over to a hand. Whereas if we hover over this image, it still stays as a pointer. So we can now click on it. And if you can also see on the bottom left-hand corner, it shows a preview of the website that it goes to. We click on it, and it'll take you to the website. So as you can see, I've given you a lot of information here, right? A lot of different samples, a lot of different tags that you can play around with in order to create your very own website. And the one that I've been saving for last, it's called a divider, div. Let's go ahead and take a look at it on the MDM documents. And what this pretty much does is it provides a way to structure your elements, right? So it's a generic container for flow content. It has no effect on your content or layout until it is styled in some ways using CSS. So it's generic. It doesn't really change anything unless you give it some sort of class or functionality. So as you can see here, somebody decided to do div class warning, and the warning has the CSS of this, right? So that's why the background it has a border of red and yellow, and it's structured like this. The way how we're going to use it, right, is we're going to separate everything that we've learned and give it different stylings, just very quick, okay? So go ahead, I'll give you 3 seconds to pause right here. Try to do it on your own. Okay, 3 seconds, we're good. Let's go ahead, do div. And then let's go ahead and copy the basic text stuff, right? By the way, I just cut it, so I did Control X, and in Apple is going to be Command X. Now I'm going to paste Control V. Okay, I'm going to save it so that way you can see that it restructures, right? And in this class, I'm going to call it. Actually, I'm not going to give it a class. I'm going to do inline stylings just so that way you guys can see how the dividers work real quick. So let's go ahead and do style. And I'm just going to give it a border of nothing too fancy. Let's just do E99. Okay, that gives it that. Okay, let's divide the list section. Style. Let's show you guys how to do color. So this is going to change the text color. Let's do 990. Okay, it gives it this. Right. Now let's give the links and image a different color background. Div. Now notice everything is still inside the body, and as I save it, it is very structured, so that way you can see that it is separated into their own divisions, right? Into their own separators. Let's go ahead and do style, border, or I'm sorry, I said I wanted to change the background. Now you know what? Yeah, let's just do background. Background color. So aquamarine. Save it. Go like here. And you see how everything's together. You're going to see everything separated into our inline styling. Okay, so as you can see, background color for this changed into aquamarine. The text for our lists changed to this. And let's see. And the border, I did the border wrong. And let me show you this as a lesson. As you can see, if we hover over border, this is everything that I've missed. So I missed line width, line style, and the color. If you don't know what to input for line width, line style, you can click on MDM reference, go ahead and open it. Always check the link first, but open it. I'm going to open it because I can see that it's going to a trusted website, developer.mozilla.org. And as you can see, the first thing we have to do is select the style. It's going to be solid. And no, actually, I'm sorry. The first thing we're going to do is select the size, REM. I'll explain REM later, but this one is 1 REM solid, and this is the result of it. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm actually going to show you pixels first. So let's do 5 pixels solid, this color, save. Actually, I have autosave, so I don't really need to worry about saving. I don't think you guys do either if you guys install the extensions. Go back to the website, refresh, and ta-da, there you go. You got the board. So there you go, everyone. That is how you use tags in HTML format. Once again, it's just a way for you to structure how your website is going to be. The next thing I'm going to show you is CSS, which we've already kind of dabbled into a bit of CSS, considering that we're using inline styling. But there's a much better way in order to style all of your text and images as opposed to doing it inline. With that said, I am going to leave you with a few things to research on your own. The first one being table. And as I've shown you before, Control F, you can go ahead and do table, and here it will explain to you table. The other thing I'm going to, or on your own, is forms, which can be found here, form. And to be honest, the form may be difficult. I will be going over that in the next section. So with that said, go ahead, play around with it, make mistakes. If something doesn't work, refer back to this video and figure out what you did wrong. But I will be showing you how to create forms in the next section. Give us a like and subscribe to this video if you found it to be useful, and go ahead and give us any suggestions in the comments below. Thanks for watching and have a nice day.